Hey everybody, it's Angel from Halo Inspirations. We give you inspirations to help you spread beauty and joy through your quilting journey. Happy hump day. Whoop whoop. And this is kind of a Christmas Wednesday. Yes, it is. The reason is we are going to be working on these cute little ornaments for your tree. It's a no-sew, guys. There's no sewing to this. And you know, I was thinking about it because when we did our tree trimming, thank you to all who sent in some ornaments to decorate the shop's tree. We did a little arts and crafts project and we did these. And I just knew that you guys may want to learn how to make these cute folded star ornaments, right? So what are we going to need? What are we going to need? I will tell you, I use Heat and Bond Ultra. And basically, you'll need some fabric, okay? So we'll be making these, and you'll need a pair of scissors. You'll need a needle. I used DMC thread and an iron, and I guess that's it. So I will tell you, I did use Heat and Bond Ultra, like I said. But if you don't have it and you're kind of wanting to make one right away, I do show you how to do that. But I really enjoyed using the Heat and Bond Ultra. So if you have some of that laying around, this is a great time to pull it out. So let's go ahead and get this started right now. See you in just a sec. Before I show you what I actually do, it's a smaller, different method, kind of, sort of. You may not have the supplies on hand, but you might want to make one, today and not wait for some other things to come in. So I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick how to do this in a different way. So you cut you're going to need 4 of these in this method. Whether you do them all 4 the same, 2 different ones, or all 4 different, you will need 4 of these, which are cut at 4 inches wide by 14 inches long. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half, and all we're doing with this is getting a center line to judge from, and then you'll simply press it. Now I would encourage you to starch your fabric before you cut. That way these lines will stay nice and pretty. I know that lines are hard to see, but you can actually see the crease there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it up one side to the crease, and I'm going to press it. Okay, and like I said, it's better if you starch before you cut this. It'll help that to stay. Then I fold the other side down to that crease line. Get them both going, and then you will simply take this and fold it one more time. Okay. What you'll end up with is a 1 inch by 14 inch strip. Okay, and again, you'll want to do this 4 times. You can do them with all the same color fabrics, 2 different color fabrics, so you'd have 2 and 2, or all 4 different. But let me show you what I do, because I think it's easier to manipulate and it makes it a little bit more crisp. But I'll show you guys that in just a sec. So what I've got in front of here, these are no particular width. We're going to be cutting them down. So you could have them wider. These are kind of left over from what I had. So I'm just doing this as a sample for you. So I've got a couple of strips that I can cut down, and they're pretty long. I don't even have them at 14, they're longer. And then I also use Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. This isn't meant to be sewn. It's a permanent adhesive, so it's going to keep it all together and pretty for us, make it nice and crisp. If you wanted to sew with Heat and Bond, they even suggest on the package that you do the Heat and Bond light. That way your needle doesn't get gummed up or anything. But this is not meant to be sewn, okay? So what I've done, I have the wrong side of the fabric, because this is the right side, isn't that pretty? Facing towards me, the wrong side facing up. And I'm going to take this Heat and Bond, and there's a paper side and an adhesive side. Okay, you can see the shine on it. So I'm going to put the adhesive side down with the paper side facing up. Directions will tell you to take your iron on medium heat, and you're going to want to press for a couple of seconds on the paper. Okay, just a couple of seconds until everything's adhered. You just want to keep on keeping on. And then I will give you a little, well, it actually says in the directions what I'm about to tell you, but I tried both ways, and it's always good to follow the manufacturer's instructions. So off camera, I'm going to take this. After it cools, I'm going to make sure that all the edges are adhering, and then I'm going to take this paper off, and I'm going to trim it to the right along the sides of the paper, okay? And then I don't know what I just said, but I want to make sure to tell you. So you let it cool, you cut it down, and then you take the paper off. Okay, so it's important that you trim with the paper on. Like I said, we tried to do it without, but it was really hard to tell because it's see-through. So let me get this cut and I'll show you the next step. See you in just a sec. Okay, so now you can see I've actually trimmed it down to the size of the paper. Now I did trim the paper length to 14 inches, so I knew that I was going to get 14 inches. As far as the width goes, this is just a demonstration. It was part of my leftovers, but no matter which way you do it, we're going to be cutting 1-inch strips, okay? So you definitely want it bigger than 1 inch. It makes things a little easier. Now I haven't trimmed the second piece that we're going to adhere to the Heat and Bond. So then you just simply take the paper off. And I won't lie to you, sometimes the paper is a little finicky to get started, but, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm getting the camera. There we go. Boom. And you can see that beautiful shine. That's the adhesive, okay? So then you want to take your strip that you're going to put on the back side. Now I've matched mine, so they're going to be the same. I think it'd be interesting to see if you did different sides, what your ornament would look like. I think it'd be kind of pretty. But I did everything I've done both the same fabrics. So then you put the adhesive side down on your project or on that bigger piece that we haven't trimmed. And then you will simply adhere with that medium heat for 8 seconds. Okay? And it does take that 8 seconds to really get it going, to adhere. And just like before, we will definitely check to make sure that all your corners and all your edges are actually sticking together. Okay? And of course you want to make sure that the piece that you're adhering is not off of the bottom piece, because then it'll stick on your pressing mat or your ironing board or wherever it is that you do this. So you do want to be careful so you don't have to clean up a mess. But once you get it all adhered, you're just simply going to cut away again around the outside edge and get it as one piece, and then just simply cut them in one long 1-inch strips that'll be 1 inch by 14. So I will get this part done off camera and I'll see you in just a sec. So here we have that strip, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to snip off the edges. I just want you to see how easy this is to cut. So there's one. And if you don't think you got it close enough, you can always redo it. Let me get the other side. Okay, easy breezy. Move that out of the way. Then we've got a longer ruler because this is 14 inches. Kind of hard to see up there. And if you really want to make it straight, you want to straighten it up. I kind of want to come in a little. There we go. Yep, that works. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and cut again. There we are. Okay, now what I would do for this, now I did entire fat quarters. You don't have to do that. But at this point, you'll just cut 1-inch strips. Okay, so I'm going to just move all this. We're going to go ahead and use this because now I'm going to go ahead and start with how to make these awesome ornaments. Okay, so we've got 4 1-inch strips. I think this one's a little bit longer. It doesn't have to be precise. Now you'll notice I did 2 red and 1 green, 1 black. I've never done anything like that before. I thought it'd be fun to just to see what it looks like. Of course my reds are different, so basically I've got 4 different ones going. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our strip and we're going to fold it over when we're leaving about 1 inch. Doesn't have to be precise. And then you're going to want to press down. Okay, there we go. We'll do that to each of the 4. And they don't have to be exact. If you want them to be exact, you can sew and do that. That's up to you, but it really isn't necessary. It's just about 1 inch. So there's 2. And notice I am finger pressing. I don't want to loosen the adhesive any. You can always try an iron. You know, that's how we learn to do things. It's a what if question. So you could try it. But finger pressing seems to work just fine. Or maybe a ruler, you know, like a real wooden ruler presser. So there's 2. And I mean 3. And last but not least, okay. And before, when I've done this and I taught how to do this, we didn't do this on a cutting mat. It's kind of nice because I can actually see the 1 inch mark, but that's how it's so not anything that you have to worry about to be precise. It's just not necessary. Now if you have all 4 of one color, it really doesn't matter, but if you have 2 of 2 different colors, then you'll want to make sure that they're opposite from each other. And if you have all 4 different colors, then it doesn't matter really then either. Okay, but because I have 2 reds, I'm going to keep those opposite from each other. And the other thing I want you to notice is that we're going counterclockwise with the fold. Whoop, so I got to spin this one. Okay, there we go. Do a little finger press. There we go. Okay, so the folds here, folds here, folds here, and folds here. Now all these loose ends are going to go into the fold. Loose ends into the fold. Pull this up a little so you can see it. Okay. These are the loose ends. Go into the fold. Okay. Loose ends go into the fold. So we've got all 4 loose ends into the fold, just like so. Okay. And then I'm just going to basically move them in. Okay. And we're going to get it nice and tight. Pull them all in. Get it nice and tight. There we go. When they're really close, you can really give them a nice snug pull. I know it turns on me, and I'm okay with that. Anything I can do to get this nice and taut, or however the word is. I usually get corrected on my missaid words. There we go. Okay, so once they are nice and tight, what we are going to do is we're going to start, well, nope, I'm sorry, we're going to flip it over so that all the long sides are now on top. Okay, so this is the short side on the bottom, the long side's on top, and every one of these should have a long side on top. Okay, and then counterclockwise again, we're going to pull this top one down. Now, one way to remember this is if I try to put this one over, we have something here. We want the next one that'll go on to the one we just folded. Okay, so we'll flip this counterclockwise. Everything seems to be counterclockwise. And this last one, okay, it's going to go over the one we just did, but we're going to tuck it into the first one. Boom. Make sure everything's pulled nice and tight. Give it a nice press. I can already tell I'm going to love, love, love this ornament. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to simply start. What's important to note here, wherever you start, you want it to be where it's folded still, not open. This one is, here, let me grab this. It's actually open, okay? We don't want to start with that one. We want to start with one that has a fold. And you're just simply going to fold that piece so it's going out, okay? And you get yourself a nice finger press. And then we're going to flip it over. Okay, so this is what you have now. All right. Then we're going to take this tail and we're going to go down and give it another nice finger press. So now you have like this triangle thingy. And then we're going to simply fold it over. And again, we are going to finger press. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take this tail and we're going to tuck it into the slit. Okay. And we're going to pull it through. Now we do notice this don't look right, right? No, that don't look right. So what we're going to do is, I did pull it just a little bigger, okay? That way I can snip. Make sure not to snip anything underneath or on top. I'm just going to cut that extra off and I'm going to pull it back up and make it tight again. Okay, there we are. Now we've got one done. There we go. Okay, and now if we go counterclockwise, this is a fold. We can't tuck in there, so we know this is correct. So we're going to fold it over again. Give it a nice finger press. Okay, we're going to flip it back over. We're going to make a nice pretty triangle. Give it a nice finger press. Okay, then we're going to take it and fold it in half. Nice pretty points. Okay, and this again, we're going to have to tuck into here. Now one thing, if you have trouble grabbing, you can always use tweezers and you can pull it. Now remember, I want to pull it so it's a little bit outside first. Then I'm just going to take some scissors, making sure I'm not cutting nothing but what I'm supposed to. Pull it nice and taut, nice and tight. I'll just do that word. Seems to be better. Okay, now you're going to do this all the way around. So I'm going to do another one with you in real time. So again, this is not the fold. Okay, you want to pay attention to that because you want to be where you can't tuck it in. So whatever which way you need to go, that's the one you need to go to next. So then I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it out. Okay, give it a nice finger press. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. Okay, and we're going to make a triangle. Give it another finger press. Fold it in half. Okay, nice pretty points. Give it another finger press, and again this tail will be tucked in because we weren't on a fold. Now the last one gets a little finicky because right now we can just simply pull this up and push it down. Now remember, I'm going to go past it just a little so I can do a nice snip that'll hide inside. Then I'm going to pull it back. Make this nice and tight. Okay, there we are. Now this has a fold, not an opening. See here we would be wanting to tuck. Here we can't tuck. That's the one that we want. So I'm going to fold it outside. Okay, I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to make another fold to get a point. Okay, fold it in half. Nice finger press. And then tuck it in. And again, if you needed help, you can always use your trusty tweezers to help pull it. I'm going to pull it just a smidgen bigger so when I cut it, there we go. I can cut and it'll shrink up in there. Okay. This one has a fold, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one. And we're just going to keep going all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward and do this in speed up time. Ready, set, go. then once you have them all done, there is a couple of options. You could just leave it like so is, but if you really wanted them to stick and stay and, you know, forever, you can either use a temporary, it's temporary until you wash it. It's Roxanne's glue based it. And if you so desired, you could just put just a little goes a long ways inside here, and then also inside there. See if it worked. It did. Okay. And you could take that to the iron, or you could take some clips and allow it to dry with some time, and that will keep it from shifting and moving or anything that you may not want. So that is an option. You don't have to do it, but it is such an option that you can definitely entertain. Okay, so I'm going to get a couple of things. We're going to go ahead and get this so we can hang it. So let's get the hanger going. I'll see you in just a sec. So what I have here is one of the ornaments that I've already done, and I already have it with a loop. And basically I just took DMC. It's all 6 threads. You probably could get away with just doing 3, but I put it through cattywampus. So I went in on the green over here and came out the green over here, trying to get it to hang a little bit straight. I know that's hard for you to see that happening, but I felt like if I could basically get it to snug in the middle there, then it might work a little better. This works fine, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to try something and we will see. Like I said, you could probably get away with 3 strands. I know some people use monofilament, some people use different weights of Aurifil, whatever floats your boat. This is about 12 inches and probably don't need that much. That's okay. I'm gonna first, I used a crawl needle, so it has a really big eye. What's really important is that your eye and your needle had the eye's big enough to hold the thread that you're using, and that you have a nice point, because we're going to be going through a whole bunch of layers. Okay, now I'm using a needle threader because I struggle with pulling all these threads through, but you probably don't need to do that. So we're just going to pull it through. Okay, now what I want you to notice, and this is just one of those, listen, this is the best needle threader ever. And they're so inexpensive. Okay, so I'm leaving the loop here on one end, and then I have the ends together. And I'm basically just going to go in on one end and come out on the other. Now, like I said, there is a metric ton of layers to go through, so it does help to be able to, you know, however you can do it to get it through. And it does get a little finicky, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Okay, and of course, you know, if you could maybe wear something with stickiness on your hands, maybe your quilting gloves or your gardening gloves, so you can, it's not so slippy slidey, and you can really grab a hold. That might be helpful. Hadn't thought of that. But this is probably the most finicky part of the whole thing, especially since I'm trying to get all these threads through. There we go. Now, and the needle through all those layers. I mean, it's tricky. So I'm going to go ahead and pull. I'm going to leave that loop there, but I'm going to pull these out. Okay, and then I'm just simply going to take my needle through the loop, and I'm going to pull it nice and tight. Okay, and I know it's really hard for you to see, but it definitely does hold better. I'll show it when I come back at you in person. Then I'll just simply tie a knot at the top. Whoop, that little booger's not wanting to tie correctly. Now y'all see why I use needle thread. I mean a needle threader, or is that, I don't know. You know what I mean. Okay. I'm just going to wrap it around itself. Put myself a nice little knot at the top. Clip a little bit off just to make it look nice. And then I have, and like I said, and if you want to make this even shorter, you just tie a bigger knot or you cut less thread. But I now can hang my ornament. So I'm going to come back at you, and I'll see you in just a sec. So here's the one that we made, and here's the one that I had made already before. I think I like this one better still, but this one was fun. I absolutely love it. And it'll go in the tree, and it'll be loved just the same. So I wanted to talk about a couple of ideas that kind of went through my head. The first one is, if you didn't have Heat and Bond Ultra and you didn't want to use a 4-inch strip to, that you fold and press and all that stuff, because think about that. That's 4 inches wide by 14 inches long, and you end up with a 1-inch strip. Now I did front and back, but because they were each 1 inch, that's 2 inches of fabric. So I'm using half the amount. So the other thing I was thinking about, if you didn't have Heat and Bond Ultra, now, we all want to play what if. So this is something I'd like to experiment with. I was thinking if you had a stabilizer or you had interfacing, that might be something that you have already in your sewing room, and it might just work. All it was to do something that gave it a little more oomph, some more body, something to make it easy to manipulate and to use. And to be real, I'm using less fabric. Although this could be a great scrap buster because we're all looking to get rid of those scraps. However, if you wanted to save a little bit and make more ornaments, you didn't have the Heat and Bond Ultra, you might want to try some interfacing and see how that works for you, just to give it a little bit of body. So that was one of the ideas that I came up with. The other thing I wanted to let y'all know, if you want one bigger than this, use a bigger strip. So we used 1-inch strips. Maybe try one at 2-inch strips. Maybe try one at 3-inch strips. Oh my gosh, how big would 4-inch strips be? I'm not sure. I might see if I can get one of those done before the live today. But that's just another idea. You could make them a little bigger if you needed to. Maybe you have a bigger tree. Maybe you just wanted it bigger, right? These are also great to put on gifts. Just a little something for somebody to add a little pizzazz to the Christmas present. I think that'd be super adorable. You could probably stick a little in one of these slits. You might even be able to put like a little label, right? Super cute. Love this. So those are the couple ideas that I had. I do want to let you know that we will be selling kits. I mean, we've got a lot of strips cut of various different colors. So it will be, and the DMC will come with it, different colors of DMC. I can't tell you which strips will be in which kit, but we will be putting enough for 5 ornaments. So it'll come with the strips for 5 ornaments that are Heat and Bond Ultra, and it will come with some DMC to do your hangers. And it'll run $19.99, so we'll be sure to get that up on the website. So for anybody who's interested, you can purchase some gifts. $19.99 for 5, and of course they'll be in our shop. So if you're here local, come on by, and we'll get you set up. So that's it for today. That is our folded ornament. Not just me, Mayhem and I will be on today at 3 p.m. for our live quilting and answers, live Q&A, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Why? Because we're in Virginia. So hope to see you for the live today. But until next time, may you all continue to be inspired, productive, ever so joyful. Never stop believing, and never stop making your dreams in quilting come true. We love y'all. Happy quilting and Merry Christmas.